Whether if your online business specializes in SEO, consultation, or just promotion in general, you're in for a surprise when I tell you that you've got the upper hand with offline businesses compared to online businesses. This is because offline companies oftentimes don't have a single mark on the web. I mean, like a website, a promotional video, search engine rankings, and so on. Now, if you're watching this, I'm taking it that you're either an internet marketer or you're someone who's looking to get into this type of niche in some way, helping offline businesses spread their presence on the web. Now, this is an avenue that's usually not pursued because most people would rather avoid face-to-face interaction or, just more of a personal contact. And that is exactly where you're going to be able to cash in big time. So how is it that you actually get all this going? I mean, what do you do to get a list of clientele that will buy your services? Well, the simple answer is going to be call and ask them. Who would have thought that? But let me explain here. It can be a little more complicated than that, but trust me, sometimes it really is that easy. I mean, we'll be taking a look at things here that you should consider mapping out before you actually contact these companies in the next section, but afterward, you're going to be provided with different methods of contacting both local and nationwide businesses for building a client list. Now let's see how you can start mapping out your plan. Okay, so exactly what is it that your company provides? I mean, which kind of service, product, promotion, and so on. So follow each one of these steps, and you're sure to come up with a spectacular plan. Number 1, gather a list of all the skills that you have. Number 2, decide if a skill, for example, video editing, should be offered as just that, or if it should be offered as multiple services. And what I mean is, like, service 1 can be promotional video creation, and service 2 can be product tutorial creation. So they're both video editing, but just a little bit different there. So it can be like multiple services that you can provide. That's going to come in handy for later. Let's go on to number 3. Take your skill sets and give each one a service name. An example would be like the video editing services, as I just said, like promotional video creation or product tutorial creation, and that can apply to just about any kind of skill that you have. Number 4, remember to break a skill set up and offer multiple services if possible. Now, this way, it's going to look like you're more established, and it gives the client more options, which equals more cash for you in the end. Number 5, take your service names and come up with a ballpark price for each one. On to number 6. As a bonus, give them a package deal. I mean, for example, something called like a video creation package, and that can include both a product tutorial video and a short promotional video. So maybe you can offer 2 services in one and give them a little discount. Okay, number 7, take your services and packages and make a 1 or 2 page brochure. And what I mean is this is going to be like just a 1-page thing. It can be something that you print out and you add a description and explain what each service is. I mean, let's say that you're doing some SEO stuff, a little video, a little graphic logo stuff. So put each one of those on there, and underneath you're going to have a description of exactly what they're going to be getting if they decide to go with you and use your services. Number 8, add your name, website, email address, phone number, and seriously any other additional info that you feel is needed somewhere on the brochure. And this is going to make sure that the people that you're contacting, the businesses, are going to have all of the contact info that they need, and you're going to be easily reachable. Okay, number 9, if possible, get this printed professionally. Now, if that's not possible, you can just print it out and make it look as slick as you can, but you can go to places like Kinko's or something like that, or you can use an online service that does printing for like business cards and stuff. I'm sure that they can take care of you in that area. And finally, number 10, take the same brochure and make an HTML web page out of it. I mean, you can put this on your website, and if possible, put this link on the paper brochure itself. Finding offline clients. How in the world do you do that? I'm going to explain that in this little video here. And you should have your services squared already when you're coming into this video. I hope you've already done that. Now, there are actually many ways that you can start gathering a good list of returning clients. So you can pick and choose from any of the ideas that will be coming up in just a minute. But first, we need to cover something very important. Which type of business would you like to target? So you've already got your services and specialties mapped out, you've got your brochures made, and so on. Now, is there a type of business that you believe you can cater to better than others? I mean, make a note of that for what's coming up in a minute as well, but here's a general rule of thumb when figuring this out. Okay, the less you target a specific type of business, the more likely you are to land clients, and the more cash you'll have in the end. You'll be increasing your chances of landing clients if you're willing to take on just about any kind of business rather than, say, just like local restaurants or something. Now, your odds will definitely be increased this way, but that's not to say that you can't target a specific niche type of business. You know, that may be a great thing for you to do, but let's say that you live in a big city, or just maybe a city that has a load of a single type of business that you believe you can cater to the best. You know, maybe you should think about targeting those first and then go to the other ones later. So depending on exactly which kind of services you're offering, the work you do may or may not be almost exactly the same when working with different types of companies. I mean, if you ultimately decide to target just any type of local business, perhaps you should think about attempting to take on a business in a single type of niche first, and then expand later. You know, this is going to help you get a little more experience, I think, and you're going to do a really good job if you target a specific type of niche business that you're already experienced with. For example, you could target local restaurants and then move on to various mom-and-pop type businesses, and after that you could try small record stores, industrial work stores, and so on. You can make a list of all of these different niche businesses in your area and target each niche, or you can go all in and target all of them at the same time. You just do whatever you feel is best and work out your own strategy. There's seriously no right or wrong way to do this. Okay, so ultimately, how do you go about getting a list of clients that you know will give you cash in exchange for your services? I mean, how do you approach them? This will be really fun if you've never done this before, and this new experience is really rewarding. So a good place to start is going to a phone book website, or perhaps even your local city's website. And if you're more of a hands-on type, you can just get your local phone book, actually, and get ready to take a look at all of this stuff. So when you're at the websites mentioned above, or you've got a local phone book in your hand, go to the business sections. You know, this is where all the fun's going to start. So if you're already doing what I have suggested, you should have hundreds, if not thousands, of local businesses right in front of you. Now, these businesses don't have any presence on the web, most likely. Now, do you realize how much potential to make money there is sitting right in front of you at this very moment? So let's get to work and start reeling in these new clients. Method 1, phone meetings. Now, this is probably the most self-explanatory method, but there is a little more to it than meets the eye. I mean, at least if you want to do it successfully. Now, I pointed out to use tangible phone books or an online directory listing of local businesses in your area. So take each and every business that looks good and write down the name, the address, and the phone number, or type it down, whichever you prefer. Now, give them a call. And when someone answers, ask, "Can I speak with the owner?" And hopefully they're going to transfer you. Now, if they say that the owner isn't in, ask for the manager. Now, just make an effort to talk to the highest up person that you can, and once you've got them on the phone, make sure that you've got your brochure handy. And this is where a little engineering will come into play. Okay, so introduce yourself and make sure to tell them what your business name is and that you help small businesses make a footprint online. Or at least tell them that you're a freelance marketer that helps small businesses do the same. Now, you can tell them something like the following. You can be like, "Hey," and say that casually, "Hey, this is," insert your name, from, insert your business name there. And you can say, "I'm inquiring to see if you'd be interested in my marketing services that can potentially boost your sales and increase your customer potential." and go on to say, I offer a few services that seem like they fit your business well, and if you'd like to hear what I can do for you, I'd be happy to go over some stuff with you. And then the ever classic, can you spare just a couple minutes? And that's all there is to it. You see, it's really not that hard. You just make sure that you're laid back, and it's more of a casual conversation. It doesn't have to be intimidating or anything. Just look over your brochure and either read directly from the descriptions that you've written down, or paraphrase and make it fit into the mood of the conversation. Now, the more that you do this, the easier it becomes, and the better you get at it. Now, sometimes a bigger impact is when you actually bring them your brochure. So when you're on the phone with them, after you ask if they've got a few minutes to spare, tell them that you can also bring them the little brochure during hours of operation. So if you talk to them and get it all squared on the phone, still ask that you bring it to them sometime. Just say something like, well, tell you what, I'll be in the area soon, so I'll maybe just drop off the brochure with an employee, and it would be my pleasure. Okay, method 2, in-person stop. Now, don't be freaked out, don't be intimidated, don't stress, don't get anxious, don't worry, and don't anticipate this. Don't think about it at all, actually. I mean, because meeting someone in person is seriously not a bad thing at all, and it's a lot easier than you probably think. It's going to be your fear of meeting someone that's going to be worse than actually meeting someone. So, do you remember how I mentioned earlier that you can cash in on offline marketing since most people aren't doing this? Well, here's your ticket. Now, ask yourself how many people are involved in online versus offline marketing. And then factor in how many times you think that that particular business that you want to contact has been approached by someone like yourself. I'm willing to bet never, and that's exactly where you're going to be cashing in big time. Okay, so just gather all of the business names and their addresses onto a sheet of paper. Go to Google Maps or some place like that, or MapQuest if you prefer, and try setting up a route for you to drive that makes things easy without many detours, or even try and get Google Maps or MapQuest to figure out the route for you. Now, once you've got this figured out, we need to take a look at the game plan here. Now, dress nicely. That goes without saying. And bring your address sheet. And drive to your first prospect, and also have your brochures handy. Now walk in, ask to speak to the owner or the manager, and if they're not available, give a brochure or two to an employee. But before you do, write a short note mentioning that you stopped by and that you'd like to talk to them. Tell them to give it to the owner and the manager, and that you'd like to hear back from them. Now, let's say that you come directly into contact with the owner or the manager. Now, you want to approach them, and when you're introducing yourself, hand them the brochure. Make sure to get who you are, what you do, and what you can offer to them out of the way completely before they're allowed time to respond. This will put them on the spot, as people call it, and that's good. Now, the tricky part is figuring out exactly how to engineer them. Now, this will depend on exactly what the person's response is. I mean, you'll come into two basic scenarios. The first one is the person will outright tell you they're not interested, and the second is they may be interested, but they'll have to think about it. Now, in each of these cases, tell them that your phone number and email is on the brochure, and that you'd like to hear from them sometime. Just reassure them that it's no problem to contact you at all. And sometimes you'll even get lucky and have them be all for what you're offering right on the spot. So back to the engineering that I was talking about. Okay, scenario 1 is where they're not interested, so just tell them to please contact you if they ever think you can be of service to them, and that you'd be happy to talk with them sometime. Now walk back to your car and put an X next to their name on your address sheet, and just hope that they call you in the future. Just X them off or mark them off there. And scenario 2 is where they're undecided. Now, if they tell you this, inform them that for the first time, a discount is available, or just generally say that there's a special of some kind. Now, this is where you can use any and every technique that you can possibly imagine to get them a bit more interested in contacting you someday. Now, just make sure to leave an impression on them and have them anxious to give you a call or an email. And as already mentioned, sometimes they'll take you up on your offer right on the spot, and that's excellent. So just go with the flow and try to establish rapport with them. Be a little laid back and possibly even crack a joke or something. And this is going to make them feel more at home and comfortable with you. And explain anything that you feel is necessary and answer any question that they may have. And once everything is out of the way, tell them that you're available to be contacted and say that you hope to hear from them soon. Bam. That's it. Method 3, email. Okay, since you're a marketer, you pretty much know how this works, but we're going to get into this because it has a little twist. And as a side note, email may be far less effective due to so many businesses not having a presence on the web, so you have no email addresses to email. But sometimes businesses do have a small site up with very little marketing flash. Okay, instead of conversing with them strictly via email, whenever you do eventually have an email address of 35 to send letters to, this is where we're going to step it up a little bit. Now, when you're writing an email to a business, somewhere in there, make sure that you mention that you'd like to either give them a call to discuss someday, or even tell them that you'd like to come down and talk things over someday. Once again, remember, if you're scared of all of this in-person stuff, just remember how many people are not doing this and how much you can cash in where they fail. Okay. So in your email, let them know that you've got brochures, I'm talking like tangible ones, to hand out, and leave them with your website address, and let them have a look at your services, and hopefully they'll like what they see, and you'll have a new client in no time. Now, as you can see, this isn't that complicated. You can use your own intuition and tweak any and every little thing that I just said to the way that you see fit, and I bet you anything it will be just as effective. I mean, this isn't rocket science, and you'll especially have a greater chance of targeting these local offline businesses since they're not used to being approached by a marketing firm. And actually, they may be the ones that are intimidated by you. And plus, they may think of themselves as all the more successful because they actually grab the attention of someone who works in business. And that's just more fuel for the fire, and it increases your chances of landing a client. So once they get into the frame of mind that they've actually attracted you into their store, they'll probably think, well, it's time to step it up. I've got these business people coming into my office now. And that's where you can go get them. Make an impact with your services. Okay, this chapter is being dedicated to service ideas such as brochures, pamphlets, book writing and formatting, video creation like promotional videos, product tutorials, and so on. Okay, what's been covered already is gathering a list of your skills and putting them on the paper. And as mentioned, it's best to break up one skill set into as many different services as you can offer. Now, this chapter will help you do just that. And it's going to help you do that because the more you've got to offer, the more your offline client may want to spend on all that you do. Simple and classic technique. Okay, so here we go. Let's get into some video creation ideas first. Idea 1. Create a small promotional video for YouTube with a good keyword title that includes a link to their website in the description. Idea 2. Offer an ongoing promotional video package where you create, say, one video per week for them. And you can upload these to YouTube and give them a different keyword title each time. Idea 3. Create a product tutorial video. Now talk with your client and see which services or products that they offer. You'll get a free copy of this to see what it's like. And then you can make a tutorial video on it explaining the features. And that's an excellent way to make a little extra cash with one of your little services. It's excellent for any business. Idea 4. If you're savvy enough, you can actually create a commercial that will air on TV. Now, for example, turn to one of your local TV channels or something like the public access station. You're bound to see commercials done for local businesses there, and you'll probably also notice that they're not that well done. Now, this means both 1, you can top it, and 2, someone actually got paid to do something that's simple, and you can cash in on that. Idea 5, create a video with the owner or manager welcoming their customers to the website or the business, saying what their business offers and that they hope to see them in store sometime. You'll have to write a script for this and actually film someone, but cameras are cheap and the chances are they know next to nothing about what you're doing, so you're going to come off as a pro, and that's good. Idea 6, offer to create a digitally animated logo of their business. Now, this can be used in any of their future video work. I mean, with how convenient software is these days, you can easily just type in some text and add in an animation template with a few clicks of a mouse. I mean, I do that all the time because I'm a freelancer. That's another idea for you. Now, let's get into some written material and graphic design service ideas. Idea 1, create a logo. And that's simple enough. That's the entire idea, but it's absolutely necessary. Idea 2, offer to write a catalog of their products. You can design these in Photoshop easily. Okay, idea 3, create a brochure for them. Now, a brochure is more like a general overview of the kind of services or the products that they provide, and it's kind of like an FAQ of their business. Idea 4, depending on which type of business it is, you may be able to write an actual manual for them. So see which products they have and figure out if there's one that you can actually write a manual for. Idea 5, mailing material. Now, sometimes a business has a huge list of names, phone numbers, and addresses of their customers, and you can create a little postcard for them to send out deals and specials that they'll be having. I'll be covering that a little more in depth a little later on in this course. Let's get on to Idea 6. Idea 6, offer to write a sales letter. Now, this is kind of like the postcard, but it's an actual letter in an envelope. Now, if they're having a deal or special, write a sales letter for that. Let's talk about SEO services now. Let's get into some ideas about that. Idea 1. First of all, offer to create a website and get that out of the way first. That goes without saying. That's probably the first thing that you should do. Idea 2, offer to SEO their website and generate backlinks to it. So when someone is searching for something like, insert service name here, in city of business here, that it shows up number 1 in Google. Idea 3, SEO a video that you've made for them and get it to show up in Google's top search results. I mean, this will also do well with YouTube, as the more views it has, the more YouTube will give it a chance and let it show up high in their own search results. Idea 4, offer to write articles. Now, not only can you charge for article writing, you can also charge for SEO on top of it. So that's like a way of breaking up your services there and to tack on a little extra fee, which is more cash for you. Idea 5, possibly try and have some grand SEO package that you charge a lot for. Now let them know that they'll get articles, videos, an SEO optimized website, and backlinks all in one package. You can make mega cash for this, especially if they don't have a website up already. Idea 6, have a package where you get them into the social networking and social media scene. Now this could include creating Facebook, MySpace, and so on profiles and filling it up with the business info that they provide. And you can also add little links or icons to their website, which will make people be their friends on Facebook, for example. Okay, so summing up, the possibilities are seriously endless with offline marketing and product creation and services and so on. So the sky is the limit, and you should try brainstorming someday and come up with something genius that you think a local business may like and simply add a price tag to it. And as a side note, this definitely does not apply only to local businesses, nor does this apply only to businesses that are already online. You can actually target a business that's already online and out of states or out of the country even. So come up with a master plan and reap the benefits. Consultation. Okay, we've been blurring the lines between online and offline marketing in this course a little, and here's where we're going to do that even more. Now, how much different is online versus offline marketing, really? I mean, everything is digital and you've got SEO on the web, But other than that, it's really not too much different. So on top of offering product creation, SEO, etc., it's just whatever you came up with, you can offer a service that's actual consulting. And you can actually do both online and offline consulting. And you can call the service just marketing consultation, plain and simple. So think about how often marketers keep a big list of email addresses and how often they mail their list updates, specials, new product info, etc. Now, really, how difficult is it to translate that to physical mail? It's not very hard. So, that's another reason why you're going to be cashing in on this. And as a final note before I get onto the methods here, or services that you can offer as a marketing consultant, please remember that any and every method that you're about to read can be applied both online and offline. Simply translate a few things that I say into the offline world if talking about online consulting, and vice versa. Just reverse it there, and you should be good. Okay. So you can charge for each one of these consulting services or break it up and make your own little package as you see fit, as I've mentioned previously. Idea 1, help them get a list of their existing customers. Now let's say a local offline business has clients coming in and out a lot, but they haven't thought to keep names and addresses. Now this is a simple fix. Tell them to buy a cheap computer and leave it at the front desk, and instruct them to take a name, phone number, and address each time before they purchase something. Now the customer will of course give anything that you ask for, or they ask for. So by storing all of this information on a computer, not only can they better serve everyone and just keep track of purchases and stuff, the company will also end up with a list, and they can use that list to promote stuff later via snail mail. And that's where you're going to come off as a marketing guru or genius. Okay, idea 2. Help them set up a periodic mailing brochure or maybe frequent specials that they may have. This can include designing a little postcard in Photoshop, or maybe they want to take the letter route. So you can also whip this up in Photoshop. And each time the business wants to run a special sale, or give their existing customers like a 20% off deal for being a customer, they've got a list that they can mail this offer out to. And that's not much different from marketing online. You see, I told you this stuff is pretty easy. It's just a little bit different because it's going to be more tangible. It's going to be more in person. Idea 3. Instead of letting the business itself run the specials, why don't you offer to do it for them? I mean, for example, tell them that in the service, you can get familiar with their products and figure out a grand special that they could run. For example, a simple 20% off sale. I mean, of course, you have to check that it's okay, that the price point is okay with them. So ask if they have a particular product that they want this to be applied to only. And you can engineer an entire special deal, sale, or whatever you want to call it out of this, and build it from the ground up. Now, the idea itself, choosing a product or multiple products, creating a little postcard or brochure, selecting a day or multiple days to hold the sale, etc., that is some genius thinking. And you're definitely going to come off as a guru whenever you run all of this by them, because they probably have no experience in marketing like this, as mentioned. Idea 4, signs. Yeah, who would have thought that a sign could do someone any good? Well, you've got millions of these little gift banners on the web, right? I mean, they're attracting lots of attention, and the same can apply offline. There's a little difference here. It's going to be a tangible physical sign, of course. So tell them that you can set them up with some signs that they can put on the business's property somewhere out in the front. And this can display a little special. I mean, for example, that ever-classic 20% off special, or just anything, really. And you can get these printed at local shops like Kinko's, and the possibilities are really limitless when using this method. Maybe you'll even create a billboard or something like that if the company can afford it, and you do have what it takes to help them with that. Okay, idea 5, ads. Yes, ads. You can tell the business that you'll set up a plan for them where they get advertisements in local newspapers, and those are always effective. And another method to go along with this is to set up a full or half-page ad that can actually be put into a phone book. Now, local phone books are usually delivered once a year or something like that. It depends on where you live, I think. So the timing has to be right, but if you can contact the city's local headquarters, you can inquire about putting an ad in the phone book somewhere in the business section. You know, if not a half or full page ad, at least a little block section, you know, where the business section is listed in the phone book. Okay, idea 6, consultation itself. Now, the ideas or methods given above are more about the different ways that you can go about offering a service to them. Now, those were presented more in the free consultation manner, you know, going over the services that you provide. But who says you can't charge for consultation itself? Because you can. Okay, what I mean is, like, just take a look at all of the ideas or services that I presented to you in this ebook. You know, the marketing methods, you know, the thing where you create a brochure and you keep a list of customers and you mail it out to them and so on. Okay, you can give free consulting, you know, offer the ideas I've given, and then, you know, once it's put into action, you can charge for that. But why not charge for telling them the ideas themselves? So not only can you charge for the actual work, you know, the work part of what you'll do for their business, you can also charge them for going over the different things that they can implement to increase their profits, you know? You're coming off as a professional, as a genius, or a guru. And if you don't think that you can charge for that, or that you shouldn't, listen closely here. Why on earth should you give away all of these grand ideas for free? I mean, really. And, you know, and just make sure to let that be known. And you can come off as the guru, professional, genius that I was talking about that has insider secrets that will make their profits shoot through the roof. And, of course, they're going to pay you for that consulting if you let them know that. So consulting can be done over the phone, it can be done in person or email even. It just depends on which method you are taking. Well, you can probably charge a lot more if you're doing that in person. So let's close everything now. I went directly to the content and I didn't inflate this or anything. I'm giving you exactly what you need to know so you can get started. And by now, I hope that you realize how much potential there is to make cash from offline clients. You simply take your online skills and translate them to offline. And if you're not experienced with working with people firsthand, like I pointed out, it's seriously a breeze. And if it's not at first, you will get used to it. Just think of the money that you're going to be making because you're cashing in where other people aren't. And in no time, you'll have cash rolling in from this. So get out there, get a client list going, and knock them out.